Welcome to Field of View with Nerd Street Gamers, your weekly dose of gaming news. I'm Darf coming to you live from the rolling fields of Whiterun Hold, and we've got some industry-shaking news this week, so let's dive into it. Sony have had their second PlayStation Forward online event, and in it they've revealed more details about their next generation of consoles. Starting with the main PlayStation 5, the console will be priced at $500. This is the version with an optical drive and all the bells and whistles, so it's competitive with Xbox's Series X in price point. Meanwhile, their digital edition comes in a little lower on the radar at $400. This version ditches the disc drive, but still has all of the energy and oomph that you need for that next generation of gaming. It's a little bit more expensive, coming in at $400 as opposed to $300 for the Xbox Series S, but it should still be a very attractive purchase. And frankly, despite all of the insane computing power that's being promised this go around, the next generation of consoles look downright affordable. Alongside the details about their next console, Sony also unveiled a whole bunch of game announcements, starting with one of their tentpole franchises, Final Fantasy. The next iteration, dubbed 16, looks pretty awesome from the cinematic trailer we saw. It seems to be set in a medieval era. There's swords and sorcery as per always, but there's also a whole bunch of crazy fantasy buzzwords, something about an icon and crystals, and there's a kid who's the Duke's son who you're either trying to protect or kill, and he either turns into a phoenix or an ogre. I'm really not sure what the hell is going on, but it looks awesome, so be sure to check it out. For this next announcement, folks, you better don your sorting hats because we're headed to the Wizarding World. Hogwarts Legacy has been announced, an RPG set in the Harry Potter universe that puts players in the role of a student attending Hogwarts in the late 1800s in a completely different era for the franchise. Now, this game's been rumored for years, and it has a fervent following already who've been trying to compile all the little drips and drops of leaks and information they could, but now it's actually out there in the world and it looks good. And it had better, folks, because if they do this right, if they make you genuinely feel like a wizard in an RPG scenario exploring and experiencing the world, they're going to have a guaranteed blockbuster smash hit. But if they do it wrong, if they fail the fan base, well, there were a whole bunch of other titles teased, announced, and more details given, but the most exciting announcement came right at the end of the broadcast, when a teaser popped up for the next iteration in the God of War franchise, this one titled Ragnarok. Now, we don't know anything about it, apart from the fact that it comes out in 2021, and it deals with the end of the world of Norse mythology, although frankly, end of the world feels more like a 2020 thing. In a cool piece of gaming news, Valve are bringing a new update to Left 4 Dead 2, a nearly 10-year-old game and the first update in 8 years, this one made entirely by the community. The Last Stand game mode will feature all sorts of new content, and it's free, so check it out. In a complete industry shakeup, Microsoft have announced the $7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax Media. Now, if you're not familiar with ZeniMax and you're wondering why on earth they're worth $7.5 billion, you might recognize some of these developers under their umbrellas who make some of these games, a few of which might be some of your favorites. They're a huge tentpole developer still privately held, now part of the Microsoft umbrella, and that could completely reshape the gaming industry as we know it. All of these games will likely now be Xbox and PC exclusives that won't be sniffing the Sony market. But, as has already been established by Microsoft, the current exclusivity deals will be honored for games like Deathloop over on the new PlayStation 5. This is going to completely change things, and it's all part of Microsoft's bid to build basically the Netflix of gaming with Xbox Game Pass, where for one monthly subscription fee, you'll now have access to all of these games, including any new releases in the franchise on day one. This is huge, and it's going to reshape the face of our industry. I don't know what this is going to look like 2 years down the line or 5 years down the line, but I am very curious to find out. That's it for us this week on Field of View with Nerd Street Gamers, your weekly dose of gaming news. Now I'd better get out of here so I can keep my knees safe. Not again.